Captain Myra stood at the window of the Earth Alliance ship Horizon Light. The stars were calm, and the great silver station of the Tal'Ari shone in the distance like a floating lantern. The view looked peaceful, yet Myra felt a soft, nervous feeling in her chest. She knew this meeting was important. The Tal'Ari had invited humans for the first time, and the goal was to study human culture and technology for a grand galactic archive. Myra was a calm and balanced leader. She believed in understanding, not fear. Still, she knew very little about the Tal'Ari. They were known across the galaxy as intelligent, gentle, and curious. They avoided conflict and spent their time collecting knowledge from different species. Many humans admired them. Some feared they were judging Earth. Myra hoped the day would bring a friendly connection. The door behind her opened, and her team stepped in. Raj, the engineer, had a bright smile as always. Hannah, the cultural expert, carried a tablet filled with notes. Tom, the young translator, looked excited but kept adjusting his jacket like he wanted to look perfect for the meeting. Myra turned to them and smiled. Everyone ready? Hannah nodded. This is big. They want to learn from us. This is a chance to show our best side. Tom added, they think humans are creative. They admire our art and music. I think this meeting will go well. Raj grinned. And maybe they will show us some of their tech. Their station looks amazing. Myra took a deep breath. All right, team. Let us make Earth proud today. A few minutes later, the ship connected smoothly with the Tal'Ari station. The airlock opened with a soft sound, and warm yellow lights guided them forward. The walkway smelled fresh, like a forest after rain. Myra felt her nervousness fade a little. The Tal'Ari clearly wanted their guests to feel welcome. As the humans entered the main hall, they saw tall crystal walls glowing with soft green lines. Floating screens moved gently around the room. At the center, a group of Tal'Ari stood waiting. They were graceful beings with smooth, pale skin and long, bright eyes that seemed to see everything with kindness. Their clothes looked like flowing robes made of gentle light. They held no tools or devices in their hands because they believed their minds did most of the work. The Tal'Ari leader stepped forward. He was taller than the others and wore a robe with golden strands. He bowed slightly to Myra. Welcome, humans. I am Elder Tal'Ren. It is an honor to have you here. Myra returned the gesture with a friendly smile. Thank you, Elder Tal'Ren. We are happy to join you. Tal'Ren's eyes brightened. We invited you to share the story of your world. Our archive holds knowledge from many stars. We wish to understand Earth better and add your wisdom to our great library. Hannah stepped forward politely. We prepared many cultural notes and explanations. We hope they help your research. Tal'Ren nodded with gentle joy. We will study everything with great respect. Humans are known for imagination. We admire the way your species builds, grows, and adapts. Raj whispered softly to Tom. They make us sound like heroes. Tom whispered back, maybe we are today. Tal'Ren then raised a hand and motioned for the humans to follow him. They walked through a round corridor filled with murals showing the history of the Tal'Ari. Scenes of discovery, learning, sharing, and peaceful exploration appeared in glowing colors. The Tal'Ari believed knowledge was the strongest light in the universe. They never forced ideas on others. Instead, they invited understanding and cooperation. Soon the group reached a large room with smooth white tables. Soft chairs shaped themselves perfectly to each visitor the moment they sat down. Myra felt impressed. The Tal'Ari lived in a world where comfort and harmony shaped everything. Tal'Ren placed a glowing tablet in the center of the table. The tablet looked like a sheet of glass with moving symbols inside. He smiled. Before we begin with culture and history, we have one small request. We would like your team to make a list of all the tools your species designed for protection or defense. It is an important part of understanding how a civilization grows. We expect the list to be short. After all, humans live in a peaceful age now. Myra paused for a moment. She looked at her team. Raj raised his eyebrows. Hannah gave a small shrug. Tom seemed unsure. Myra answered politely. We can do that. We will list everything you need. Tal'Ren looked pleased. Wonderful. We believe this will be quick and simple. Our own archive contains only a few entries for our species. We expect humans to have a small number as well. We will use this information only for academic study. Nothing more. Myra nodded. We understand. The Tal'Ari stepped back and gave a human space. Myra sat down and placed her hand on the tablet. A soft blue line appeared, ready to record every word she spoke. Hannah leaned in slightly. Should we start with old items or new ones? Myra thought for a moment. Start with the early ones. It will show how humans learn step by step. So Myra began the list. She spoke gently and clearly. The tablet wrote her words in glowing symbols. Tom and Hannah added more detail from memory. Raj helped organize the sequence. At first, the Talari watched with calm interest. They nodded from time to time. They smiled softly at the mention of simple tools from early human history. Everything looked normal and expected. But then the list grew longer. Humans had many different cultures and ages. Each age had its own ideas and tools. The Talari tilted their heads slightly. They exchanged quiet looks as the list kept growing and growing. What they thought would be a short task was slowly turning into something much larger. Tao Ren leaned closer with mild surprise. How many entries do humans have in this category? Myra answered politely. A lot. Humans live through many ages. People learn different skills in different regions. We have a long and varied history. Tao Ren blinked slowly as if trying to understand this. This is very unusual. Most species we studied created a few items for safety and stopped. Your species seems to continue for a very long time. Hannah smiled kindly. Humans enjoy learning. We always try new designs. Even small changes help us discover new things. Tao Ren nodded, though confusion still sat in his eyes. The other Talari whispered quietly among themselves. Myra noticed their gentle surprise, but continued the task as they requested. The list grew longer. More entries filled the tablet. The Talari grew more curious with each passing moment. It was clear they never expected humans to have such a wide range of ideas. Myra looked at her team and felt a mix of pride and amusement. She had no idea that such a simple request would surprise the Talari so much. She wondered how they would react as the list continued. The whole stayed calm. The light stayed warm. Yet something new filled the air. A gentle feeling of suspense. A quiet question. A silent curiosity. The Talari had opened the door to human creativity, and they were only at the beginning. The humans continued to speak softly as the glowing tablet captured every word. Captain Myra had finished the earliest entries, describing tools from ancient times. Now the task moved into the Middle Ages, a period rich with creativity and invention. Hannah pointed to a small notebook she carried, filled with illustrations and notes from various cultures. She began to add details that Myra had not mentioned. Raj described the construction methods and materials, explaining how humans had used stone, metal, and wood to make items that were both simple and clever. Tom added names from stories he had read, including some very old legends that described weapons as part of great adventures and challenges. The Talari watched with increasing fascination. At first, they were polite, nodding occasionally, their eyes glowing gently. They expected a list of a few dozen items, perhaps the most basic tools humans needed to defend themselves. But as the list grew, their calm expressions slowly changed into mild astonishment. One Talari scientist whispered to another they had never encountered a species with so many variations for a single purpose. The whole was quiet except for the soft sounds of human voices and the light hum of the tablet. Myra noticed the subtle reaction of the Talari. She leaned slightly forward and spoke with clear confidence. Humans have always found ways to improve what they use. We take lessons from each generation and add new ideas. Every community discovers different solutions based on its needs. The Talari leader, Elder Tauren, tilted his head. Your species seems endlessly inventive. How many items are there already? Many hundreds, Myra replied calmly. Some are known only in certain regions. Others are common across our planet. This list is just a beginning. Tao Ren looked at his council and exchanged quiet glances. They had studied thousands of species, but none had such a broad approach to creating tools. The idea that a civilization could continually invent new ways to solve old problems was unfamiliar to them. Hannah spoke next. Humans do not just make tools for defense. We also make them to train skill, to practice strategy, and to create safe challenges. Learning and growth are part of every invention. The Talari listened carefully. They had assumed that defense items were dangerous or aggressive. The human explanation made them pause. They began to understand that these items were part of a broader culture, not merely instruments of harm. Raj leaned back slightly and added, "Even when an item is simple, humans often use it in unexpected ways. A stick may be a support in one village, a hunting tool in another, or a symbol in a ceremony. We always adapt our creations to meet many purposes." The Tal'eri murmured softly. Their voices were calm but filled with wonder. They had never considered that a single item could hold so much meaning. Myra noticed their reactions and smiled quietly. She felt a sense of pride for her species, knowing that humans were capable of creativity that could astonish even the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Tom, who had been silent for a while, suddenly spoke. "I remember a story about explorers who used everyday items to solve big problems. They used ropes to climb walls, simple pulleys to move heavy objects, and even pots and pans to create signals. They were clever with what they had." Tal'Ren leaned forward, intrigued. "So your species can adapt ordinary things to extraordinary tasks?" "Yes," Myra replied. "We learn to use whatever is available. Creativity is not limited by the material. Our minds imagine solutions, and our hands make them real." The Tal'eri exchanged more quiet whispers. Their eyes were wide with interest. They had always studied species with advanced technology, but humans combined intelligence, creativity, and adaptability in a way they had never expected. As the hours passed, the humans' list continued to grow. The early entries described simple tools such as slings, spears, and shields. Then came items from later ages, swords, bows, and protective gear. Then came items for complex strategy and defense, including siege machines, traps, and early mechanical inventions. The Tal'eri observed silently, fascinated by the depth and variety of human thought. After nearly 2 hours, the Tal'eri leader spoke again. "Your species has created more than we anticipated. You seem to have an endless capacity to design." Myra smiled politely. "Humans learn from mistakes and successes alike. Every invention teaches something new. Every challenge inspires a solution. We continue to build and adapt because understanding and growth are part of who we are." The Tal'eri looked thoughtful. They were used to species that invented once and then stopped. Humans did not stop. They continued to improve, to innovate, and to adapt. The Tal'eri began to see why humans had survived in so many environments across their world. They were not the strongest species, not the fastest, but their creativity allowed them to thrive. Hannah added more entries, describing small inventions from villages and towns, the kind that might seem insignificant to outsiders but were essential to human life. She described clever traps for wild animals, early safety devices, and tools that doubled as household items. Each item had a story, and each story reflected human intelligence and adaptability. Tal'Ren's eyes widened slightly. "This is remarkable. We never expected that humans would use such a wide variety of items for defense, learning, and daily life." Raj smiled. "It is part of our nature. We use our environment, our knowledge, and our imagination. We turn what we have into what we need. Sometimes a simple item becomes very powerful in skilled hands." The Tal'Eri murmured softly again. They had never fully considered the power of intelligence and creativity over brute strength. Humans were not physically dominant in the galaxy, yet their minds gave them abilities that surprised even the most advanced species. As the list continued, the Tal'Eri began to take notes in their own way. They projected small holograms to study the shape and function of each item. They whispered among themselves, discussing what this meant about humans. Each new entry increased their admiration and curiosity. Myra observed them calmly. She knew that humans were impressive, but she also understood that the Tal'Eri had not seen many examples of her species in action. The task was simple: make a list, yet it had revealed something far more powerful. Humans were creative, adaptable, and endlessly inventive. By the time the first segment of the list was complete, 4 hours had passed. The tablet glowed warmly, filled with hundreds of entries. The Tal'Eri were quiet, thoughtful, and clearly impressed. They had expected a short, simple list. Instead, they had received a living story of human ingenuity. Myra closed her notes for a moment. "This is just the first half of our list. There is more to share, but I hope this gives you a clear view of what humans can create and adapt." Tal'Ren leaned back and took a slow breath. His voice was calm but filled with awe. "We understand. Your species is extraordinary. We will continue to study this, but even now we see that humans think in ways unlike any others in the galaxy. Myra smiled. She knew the conversation had only just begun, yet the respect in Tauren's eyes was clear. Humans had already shown that their minds were powerful tools, capable of surprising even the most advanced civilizations. The soft glow of the tablet filled the room as Captain Myra and her team prepared to continue the list. The Tal'Ari, who had expected a short and simple catalogue, now watched in quiet fascination. The first half had already amazed them, but Myra knew the task was far from over. The humans had countless examples to share, and each one revealed another layer of ingenuity. Hannah began again, her voice steady. She described devices that were less about raw strength and more about cleverness. She spoke of nets that could catch animals without harm, small mechanical traps that used simple levers, and even early warning systems in villages. Each description painted a picture of humans adapting their environment to survive and learn. The Tal'Ari leaned forward, their eyes bright with curiosity. They had never imagined that a species could create so many variations for the same purpose. One Tal'Ari scientist whispered softly to another, "They do not just invent, they invent with understanding." The phrase hung in the air, almost like a small revelation. Raj added his own insights. Humans often take ordinary objects and make them extraordinary. A rope may secure a load, assist in climbing, or even act as part of a defensive barrier. A simple plank of wood might serve as a bridge, a shield, or part of a training exercise. We do not see limits in how things can be used. Myra smiled as she spoke. Humans believe that knowledge and creativity are as important as physical strength. Every tool we make has multiple purposes. That is why our lists are long and growing. What you see here is only a part of our history. The Tal'Ari whispered among themselves. Their expressions were polite but clearly filled with wonder. They had studied thousands of species, but none displayed this level of adaptability and imagination. They had always thought that technology followed strict patterns, but humans broke those patterns in ways that seemed endless. Tom then spoke. He had been quietly observing the tablet and the reactions of the Tal'Ari. In our stories, humans often face challenges with clever solutions. They use every resource around them. A pot can carry water, create a sound to warn others, or even be part of a defensive trick. Humans see objects not just for what they are, but for what they could become. Tauren, the elder, raised a hand. "This is extraordinary. Your species treats every item as a possibility. We have never observed this before. It is unlike any other civilization we have studied." Myra nodded. "Yes, our creativity is not limited by danger or design. Humans imagine, test, and adapt. That is how we survive and grow." The Tal'Ari began to understand that humans were not just inventors but thinkers. They did not rely on power or aggression alone. Their strength came from intelligence and flexibility. This realization made them even more curious. Hannah continued, her voice filled with quiet pride. She described items used for training and skill building, including early practice weapons that were safe but taught precision and strategy. She explained how communities use games and contests to refine these skills over generations. Each example revealed a species that valued learning as much as survival. Raj added examples from engineering and architecture. Humans had built structures to defend villages, yet those same structures could protect crops, guide water, or support other community needs. Every invention was practical, thoughtful, and adaptable. The Tal'Ari were fascinated by the way humans combined simplicity with versatility. One Tal'Ari researcher spoke quietly to Tauren. "They use what they have, and they improve it constantly. Even the smallest object may serve multiple functions. How is this possible?" Tauren did not answer immediately. He observed the humans closely, realizing that what he thought would be a short and simple list had revealed the depth of human ingenuity. "This is their nature," he said finally. "We must study them carefully. They are not just inventive, they are creative beyond expectation." As the hours passed, the humans' list expanded further. They included items from different regions of Earth, some known only locally but remarkable in design. They described clever defensive techniques using natural materials, inventive training methods for coordination and strategy, and ingenious solutions for everyday challenges. Each entry was simple, yet its potential was enormous. Myra noticed the Tal'Ari's reactions. They no longer whispered softly. They were actively discussing the implications. Their glowing eyes moved between the tablet and each other. They had not expected this depth of thought and creativity. Humans were capable of using nearly anything in clever ways, turning ordinary objects into tools of intelligence and strategy. Hannah added a new section to the list. She described household items that humans had adapted in times of need. Even a cooking tool could be used creatively in an emergency. Raj gave examples of construction tools that could become defensive mechanisms or problem-solving devices. Tom laughed softly as he mentioned stories from old legends where simple items turned into clever solutions. Taran's expression was thoughtful. We thought your species lived in simplicity now, in a peaceful era. Yet even ordinary humans possess great potential. Every object, every idea, every story carries knowledge. They can adapt to anything. Myron nodded. That is the essence of humans. We grow, learn, and share ideas. Our strength is in our mind and our creativity. Even without advanced technology, we find ways to protect, solve problems, and improve life. The Tal Area Council recorded each entry in their own holographic notes. They projected small models to study each object and its uses. They whispered softly about the unexpected depth of human capability. They were astonished. They had expected a short list, but they were witnessing a species whose imagination seemed limitless. Hours passed, and the tablet's glow reflected hundreds of entries. The room was quiet except for human voices and soft Talari murmurs. Myra felt a sense of calm satisfaction. Humans were not only contributing to the galactic archive, but also showing the galaxy their true nature, adaptable, inventive, and endlessly creative. Tao Ren finally spoke, his voice calm but filled with admiration. Your species has surpassed our expectations. You are not just clever. You are resourceful, adaptable, and imaginative. We will need time to understand everything you have shared. Myra smiled politely. We are happy to help. Humans have always learned from each other, and sharing knowledge is part of who we are. We hope this helps you understand us better. The Talari murmured quietly among themselves again. The room was filled with gentle wonder. They had never seen a species capable of such creativity and adaptability. Humans were extraordinary in ways the Talari had not imagined. By the end of the session, the first major segment of the list was complete. The Talari had observed hundreds of human inventions, small and large, ordinary and clever. They realized humans had a talent for turning any object into a tool and any idea into a solution. Their admiration and curiosity grew with every entry. Myra looked at her team. This is only the beginning. We have more to share, and it will become even more interesting. Humans can take ordinary items and imagine extraordinary uses. That is a gift we hope the galaxy will appreciate. The Talari nodded. They had learned something profound today. The Talari Council had expected a list of tools and defensive items, yet what Captain Myra and her team began to describe next went far beyond their expectations. The humans had completed the first phase with weapons and clever defensive inventions. Now Hannah started to speak about ordinary household items that humans had adapted in countless imaginative ways. Even simple objects, Hannah said, can be used in multiple ways. A broom, for example, sweeps floors, but it can also help balance, train coordination, or reach high places. In many villages, people use long sticks for signaling, lifting, or even guiding animals safely. Tauren, the elder, leaned forward, his eyes widening. He had assumed the next part of the list would be short and simple. Instead, Hannah's words suggested an endless variety of clever applications. The other Talari whispered softly among themselves. They were curious, cautious, and clearly intrigued. Raj took over, adding examples from construction and home life. A pot is not just for cooking. It can store water, carry materials, create signals, or even act as a makeshift container for experiments. Humans see objects not only for their intended purpose, but also for what they can do in creative ways. The Talari Council studied each example carefully. They had seen humans use advanced technology, but everyday items used with intelligence was something new. The idea that a simple household object could be a tool of learning or problem-solving fascinated them. They had assumed ordinary tools were unimportant. Now they realized that humans could turn anything into a solution. Myra smiled calmly as she added, humans have always adapted their environment to meet their needs. Even ordinary objects carry potential. Our creativity does not stop with specialized tools. Every item around us can inspire innovation. Tom spoke next, with a spark of excitement in his voice. In old stories, humans even used furniture, kitchen utensils, and garden tools to solve problems. Chairs might be stacked to climb high walls. Spoons might measure, mix, or even help create signals. A single object can have many uses depending on the imagination of the person. Tao Ren exchanged a glance with the council. His voice was calm but tinged with awe. We assumed your species would focus only on items designed for safety. But even ordinary objects are used in extraordinary ways. This is beyond what we expected. Hannah continued, giving examples from art and daily life. Humans use ropes to lift, baskets to carry, cloth to protect, and jars to store. Every object could become a solution to a new problem. The Tal'Ari realized that humans' creative thinking extended far beyond traditional inventions. Every community, every age, every household added new ideas to the growing pool of knowledge. Raj added practical examples. Even a simple knife has many uses. It can prepare food, shape materials, carve patterns, and teach precision. Humans often discover new ways to use the same item for learning, safety, and exploration. That is why our lists are long. The Tal'Ari Council's quiet whispers grew more animated. They had never seen a species capable of imagining so many applications from ordinary objects. They began to realize that humans' creativity was both practical and adaptable. A species that could see possibilities in everything had a unique advantage in surviving and thriving in many environments. Myra spoke next. We do not consider this dangerous or aggressive. Our goal is understanding and improvement. Creativity is a part of human life. Using what we have as a way of thinking, not a way to harm. Tao Ren nodded slowly. We understand. Even now, we recognize the intelligence behind each example. Your species adapts, invents, and learns constantly. This knowledge is remarkable. Tom added a light comment. Sometimes humans even use objects for games, training, or celebrations. A rope might be part of a contest, a pot might hold water for a challenge, and a chair could be a goal marker. We always find ways to make learning and practice fun. The Tal'Ari Council tilted their heads slightly. This was not what they expected. They had assumed that humans used items for only one purpose. Now they saw that even ordinary objects held lessons in creativity, problem-solving, and adaptability. The concept of multipurpose use amazed them. Hannah gave an example from farming. A simple bucket can carry water, store harvest, mix feed, or even weigh objects. Humans see what an object can do, not only what it was made for. That way, we can solve problems quickly and efficiently. Raj added examples from building and engineering. A plank of wood might become a bridge, a lever, a balance beam, or a temporary structure. Every object is a potential solution in the right hands. Humans always look for possibilities, not limits. Tao Ren murmured softly to his council. They are not just inventive. They are adaptive in ways we cannot predict. Even a simple object carries intelligence and purpose. Their creativity is a force we must respect. Myra observed the Tal'Ari carefully. She understood their astonishment. Humans have been underestimated. Their strength was not in size, speed, or technology alone, but in their ability to imagine and adapt. One simple item could become a tool, a signal, a teaching device, or even a small invention. Tom added one last note with enthusiasm. Sometimes humans even use playful items for clever solutions. A ball might teach coordination. A cloth could signal messages. Everything has a hidden potential if we think carefully. The Tal'Ari began to take more active notes in their holographic system. They projected small models of the items and imagined new ways to combine them. Their earlier calm demeanor had shifted to awe and curiosity. They were witnessing a species whose creativity knew no boundaries. Tao Ren finally spoke with a calm but serious tone. We ask humans to list their tools and weapons. What we see now is a culture of intelligence, adaptation, and imagination. Your species turns ordinary objects into extraordinary solutions. This is unlike anything we have studied. Myra nodded with quiet pride. Humans have always learned from experience. We share knowledge because it grows stronger when it is understood and adapted. That is why even simple objects have great value. The Tal'Ari Council whispered among themselves, impressed by what they had learned. They had assumed that human creativity would be limited to specialized tools. Instead, they had discovered a species capable of seeing potential in everything. The ordinary was extraordinary in human hands. By the end of the session, 6 hours had passed. The glowing tablet now displayed hundreds of entries, from traditional tools to ordinary household items used in ingenious ways. The Tal'Ari looked exhausted but fascinated. Their admiration for humans had grown beyond measure. They had asked for a simple list, yet they had witnessed the power of human creativity firsthand. Myra closed her notes carefully. She felt a sense of pride and satisfaction. Humans had shown that their true strength lay in intelligence, imagination, and the ability to adapt. The Tal'Ari had seen only a part of what humans could do, and already their respect was deep. Tao Ren finally raised his hand. Please, that will be enough for now. We understand. Humans are remarkable. We will need time to record and study all that you have shared. We do not wish to overwhelm ourselves further. Myra nodded politely. She understood. The Tal'Ari had reached their limit of amazement. By now, the humans had been listing items for nearly 6 hours. The Tal'Ari Council had started with polite curiosity, but as the hours passed, their interest turned into awe. They had expected a short, simple list, yet the tablet now glowed with hundreds of entries that covered centuries of human invention. Each object revealed creativity, intelligence, and adaptability that the Tal'Ari had never imagined. Captain Myra looked at her team. Hannah, Tom, and Raj had maintained steady focus, their voices calm, their explanations clear. They knew that humans could take any object and use it in surprising ways. Ordinary items, household objects, and tools once thought mundane were now shown to be extraordinary in function and purpose. Hannah began with a new set of examples from educational and playful environments. Humans often use everyday objects to teach skills, she said. A stick might become part of a balance exercise. A small jar can be used for counting or sorting. Children learn coordination and problem-solving using tools that are not designed as weapons but help develop mental and physical strength. The Tal'Ari leaned forward, their glowing eyes fixed on the humans. They had assumed learning tools would be simple and few, yet Hannah described dozens of clever items adapted for education. Each example showed the careful observation and intelligence of humans. Raj continued, describing objects from workshops and studios. A hammer can build, shape, or even act as a lever. A brush can paint, clean, or be part of a signaling system. Humans experiment with each item, discovering new ways to apply it. We do not see limits. Tom spoke next, his voice filled with enthusiasm. In stories, humans have turned simple items into solutions for complex challenges. A rope becomes a bridge, a cloth becomes a signal flag, a bowl might carry water to help crops grow. Each ordinary object can be used in many ways depending on imagination. Tao Ren, the elder, looked thoughtful. His gaze shifted between the glowing tablet and the humans. We requested a list of your tools and defense items, he said slowly. We did not expect this level of creativity. Every object you mention has multiple uses. Your species adapts and innovates in ways we cannot predict. Myra nodded calmly. That is the essence of humans. We learn by observing, trying, and imagining. Even simple objects can become part of problem-solving. That is why our list grows so long. The Tal'Ari whispered among themselves, clearly overwhelmed by the depth of human thought. They had seen civilizations that created advanced technology, but humans combined adaptability, creativity, and intelligence in ways that set them apart. Every object had a potential that the Tal'Ari could only marvel at. Hannah added examples from agriculture. Buckets and baskets are not just for carrying. They can store, measure, or even act as teaching tools. Simple planks can guide water, hold plants, or become part of structures. Every object has multiple functions depending on the user's intention. Raj included entry from construction and engineering. A small rope can lift, tie, or balance. A lever can move heavy loads, support structures, or teach mechanics. Humans always look for possibilities, not limits. The Tal'Ari began to project holograms of the items. They whispered softly, discussing how a single object could serve multiple purposes. They had never seen a species capable of such broad adaptation. Every example amazed them. They had underestimated humans entirely. Tom laughed softly as he added examples from household life. Even a cooking spoon has many functions. It can measure ingredients, mix, signal with sound, or teach counting. Humans often find new applications for the simplest objects. Tao Ren shook his head slowly, a rare gesture of awe. Your species is remarkable. We asked for a list. What we see is a culture of imagination, intelligence, and adaptation. Every ordinary object can become extraordinary in your hands. We need time to record all this. Myra spoke gently. Humans have always used what we have. Creativity is not limited by materials or size. A small object can solve big problems if used thoughtfully. That is why we share our knowledge carefully. The Tal'Ari Council leaned closer, projecting holographic simulations of some items. They observed the clever ways humans could apply ordinary tools. They had expected specialized tools for defense, yet they saw the same principles applied across education, household tasks, and training. Humans could take anything and turn it into a solution. Hannah continued, adding examples from art and science. Even in painting or music, ordinary objects can become instruments or tools. A stick can become a brush, a pot a drum. Humans find purpose in everything and explore its possibilities. Raj spoke again. Our goal is not to surprise you for competition. We adapt because we need to solve problems. Even small inventions contribute to learning and growth. Every object is an opportunity for creativity. The Tal'Ari whispered softly among themselves. Their expression showed deep respect and slight overwhelm. They had expected humans to create specialized weapons and defense items. Instead, they had discovered a species capable of transforming any ordinary object into a tool of ingenuity. Tom added one last story. In old tales, humans have solved challenges with nothing but everyday items. Chairs, cloth, water, ropes, sticks, all were used creatively. A small item in the right hand becomes powerful. That is part of what humans do. Tao Ren took a slow breath. We see now. Your species is not only intelligent. You are adaptable, imaginative, and endlessly inventive. The galaxy has much to learn from you. Myra felt a quiet satisfaction. The humans had shared the full scope of their creativity. They had demonstrated that intelligence and imagination were more powerful than raw strength. Every item, every story, every example reflected the human ability to adapt, invent, and grow. By the end of 6 hours, the glowing tablet displayed entries that ranged from ancient weapons to the most ordinary household items, all with clever applications. The Tal'Ari had begun to understand humans in a way they never expected. They had assumed simplicity, but what they saw was complexity, versatility, and ingenuity. Tao Ren finally raised his hand and spoke firmly. Please, that is enough for now. We understand. Humans are extraordinary. Your creativity and adaptability are unlike anything we have studied. We need time to absorb what you have shared. Myra nodded politely. She knew this was a moment when humans had fully impressed the Tal'Ari. The meeting had begun as a simple exercise. It had transformed into a lesson on human ingenuity. The Tal'Ari had seen how humans could take ordinary objects and turn them into solutions for problems, learning, and innovation. The council members recorded their notes carefully. Their admiration for humans was clear. They had expected a simple list, but had witnessed the power of human imagination in action. Every object, every story, every method revealed a species that could think, adapt, and create without limits. Myra looked at her team and smiled. They had done more than just answer questions. They had shown the Tal'Ari the essence of humanity, intelligence, creativity, and endless adaptability. The Tal'Ari had learned a valuable lesson. Humans were not just survivors. They were inventors, thinkers, and problem solvers. After the 6-hour list, the Tal'Ari Council was silent for a moment. Their minds were filled with hundreds of human inventions, stories, and adaptations. The ordinary objects humans had shared amazed them. Each item showed creativity, intelligence, and adaptability far beyond what the Tal'Ari had expected. Captain Myra and her team sat calmly, aware that their species had made a powerful impression. Tao Ren, the elder, finally stood. His posture was tall and dignified, yet his eyes were soft with admiration. "Humans," he said slowly, "we invited you here to understand your tools and inventions. What we have seen goes beyond anything we anticipated. Your species is a way of thinking that is remarkable. You find solutions where others see only limits. You transform ordinary objects into extraordinary tools." Hannah smiled politely. "We only shared what we know, Elder Talran. Creativity and learning are part of our daily life. Humans always find ways to solve problems and adapt. That is why our list was so long." Raj added, "Our goal is not to impress or to compete. We learn and share knowledge because it makes life better for everyone. Every object we use has a purpose, and every purpose can inspire new ideas." The Tal'Ari Council whispered softly among themselves. Their discussion was filled with wonder. They had assumed humans would provide only basic tools for defense. Instead, they had witnessed the scope of human imagination. They began to understand that humans were not just inventive, they were adaptive in ways that no other species had ever been. Talran stepped forward and addressed the humans again. "We have studied civilization for centuries. We have observed advanced technology, complex social structures, and strategic thinking. Yet your species combines intelligence, creativity, and adaptability in ways that surpass what we thought possible. You can take any object and find new uses, new purposes, and new solutions. That is extraordinary." Myra nodded with quiet pride. "Humans have always learned from experience. We share knowledge not for power, but to grow together. We hope that by sharing, we help others understand and improve. That is our strength." Tom added softly, "Sometimes humans even find joy in creative solutions. We play, we experiment, and we discover. Learning is part of life, and it comes from curiosity and imagination." The Tal'Ari Council members listened carefully. They projected holographic simulations of some items, testing the different ways humans had adapted them. Their eyes glowed with fascination. Each simulation demonstrated how even the simplest object could serve multiple purposes. They had never seen such versatility in a species. One Tal'Ari scientist spoke quietly to Talran. "They are not just clever. They are adaptable in every way. Every object, every idea, every story carries potential. We need to study humans carefully. They are unlike any species we have known." Talran nodded. "Yes, humans do not just survive. They thrive through intelligence and creativity. They inspire solutions, they teach, and they grow. This is not merely skill. It is a way of thinking, a way of life. We must honor and learn from it." Myra smiled. "We do not wish to overwhelm you. We only wish to share what humans have learned. The rest is up to you to explore. Every object has possibilities, and every person can discover new ways to use them." The Tal'Ari was silent for a moment, absorbing the meaning of her words. They had not expected such a thoughtful explanation. They had been impressed by the list, but now they were beginning to understand the human philosophy behind it. Intelligence, creativity, and adaptability were inseparable from human life. Talran finally spoke again. "We wish to formally invite your team to participate in a new program. The Grand Galactic Archive seeks knowledge from every corner of the universe. We invite humans to join as contributors and researchers. Your creativity and insight are invaluable. We believe your species can help other civilizations solve problems in ways we have never seen before." Hannah's eyes lit up. "That is a great honor. We are happy to share knowledge with the galaxy. Humans learn through cooperation, and we hope our participation will help others as well." Raj added, "We are eager to learn from other species too. Every culture, every civilization has its own ideas. By sharing, we all grow stronger and wiser." Talran smiled, a soft glow in his eyes. "Exactly. Humans do not just survive through strength. You survive through understanding, cooperation, and imagination. That is why your contributions will be so valuable. Your way of thinking will inspire and guide others." Tom spoke quietly. "We only hope we can represent our species well. Humans are curious, adaptive, and inventive. That is our nature. We wish to share it without causing confusion or harm." Talran inclined his head. "You have already shown us the truth of your nature. Humans are capable, resourceful, and thoughtful. Your way of thinking is a gift to the galaxy. We are honored to welcome you as partners. Myra felt a calm pride. The humans had done more than share a list. They had shown the essence of their species: creativity, adaptability, and intelligence. The Tal'Ari had begun to see humans not as a species to judge, but as a species to respect. The meeting had achieved far more than she had hoped. Hannah added one last note. Humans do not invent for violence. We invent to solve problems, to learn, and to help each other. That is why we hope our contributions to the archive will focus on understanding and growth. Tauren nodded. We understand completely. Your species is remarkable, and your philosophy aligns with our goal: to share knowledge for the betterment of all civilizations. Humans are welcome as contributors, teachers, and partners. The Tal'Ari Council members began to discuss logistics for the new program. Holographic screens projected plans for research and collaboration. The humans listened carefully, offering suggestions and sharing ideas for cooperation. Every suggestion was met with respect and appreciation. The Tal'Ari clearly valued the human perspective. Myra looked at her team. They had not only shared knowledge but also earned the trust and admiration of an entire alien council. Humans had proved that their creativity and adaptability were not just practical but also inspiring. They had shown that their strength came from intelligence, imagination, and the ability to work together. Tauren finally concluded the meeting. The galaxy has learned something today. Humans are more than a species. They are thinkers, problem solvers, and creators. We will record this lesson in our archive. Humans are welcome as partners and friends. Your ideas will guide others and help civilizations grow. Myra and her team stood and bowed politely. Thank you, Elder Tauren. Humans are honored. We hope to share, learn, and help wherever we can. As the humans left the hall, the Tal'Ari Council whispered among themselves. They had seen the creativity and intelligence of humans firsthand. They had learned that even ordinary objects could become extraordinary in human hands. They had seen a species capable of imagination, adaptation, and cooperation that could shape the galaxy in peaceful and constructive ways. For the first time, the Tal'Ari felt a new respect for humans. They were not just survivors. They were inventors, thinkers, and teachers. Their strength lay not in power, but in creativity and intelligence. The sun of the Tal'Ari homeworld had already set when Captain Myra and her team returned to the horizon light. The sky above the station shimmered with distant stars, and soft green auroras danced across the atmosphere. The humans had spent hours sharing their inventions and ideas, and now the Tal'Ari were ready to formalize the new partnership. Inside the council chamber, the Tal'Ari had arranged a ceremonial hall. Crystalline walls reflected gentle light, creating a serene and inspiring atmosphere. The council members floated gracefully, their robes glowing faintly, as they welcomed the humans once more. Tauren, the elder, spoke first. Humans, your contributions have exceeded our expectations. You have demonstrated creativity, adaptability, and intelligence in ways that inspire admiration across the galaxy. Today, we formally invite your species to join the Grand Galactic Archive as full contributors, researchers, and partners. Hannah stepped forward with a polite bow. We are honored, Elder Tauren. Humans believe in sharing knowledge and learning from others. We will participate fully, and we hope to help other civilizations grow as we have learned. Raj added, humans are curious by nature. We seek understanding and improvement. If we can contribute to a galactic effort of knowledge, we will do so wholeheartedly. Tom smiled, his voice gentle but excited. We hope to represent humans well and to learn from every species we encounter. Our creativity comes from cooperation, and we want to share it for the benefit of all. Tauren's eyes glowed warmly. Your philosophy aligns perfectly with the goals of the archive. We do not merely collect information. We seek understanding, growth, and connection between species. Humans have shown us a way of thinking that can inspire and guide others. Myra looked around the chamber. She saw holograms of human inventions projected for the council, alongside examples from other civilizations. The Tal'Ari had already begun integrating human creativity into their archives. She realized that humans had not only shared knowledge, but had also sparked new ways of thinking among the Tal'Ari themselves. Hannah spoke softly. Humans do not invent for war or dominance. We invent to solve problems, learn, and grow together. Even simple objects can teach lessons if we observe them carefully. We hope our contributions will always reflect that spirit. Tauren inclined his head. We understand completely. Today, we have seen a species capable of turning ordinary items into extraordinary solutions. Your creativity is a gift to the galaxy. It will help civilizations learn and thrive. The chamber shifted as a Talari projected a grand holographic map of the galaxy. Points of light represented each participating civilization. Tauren gestured, and a glowing path connected Earth to the Talari homeworld. From this day forward, humans are official partners in the Grand Galactic Archive. Your species will share knowledge, collaborate on research, and help guide civilizations through challenges that require intelligence, adaptability, and creativity. Myra felt a surge of pride. Humans had been underestimated for centuries. Other species had often assumed they were simple, aggressive, or limited in ability. Now, in the presence of one of the most respected civilizations in the galaxy, humans were recognized as thinkers, innovators, and problem solvers. Raj spoke, his voice calm but firm. We are ready to share what we know and to learn from every other species. Humans believe that intelligence grows through cooperation. We hope to demonstrate that in the archive. Tom added, we want to help other species see the possibilities in what they already have. Even ordinary objects, ordinary ideas, and everyday experiences can lead to solutions. That is part of what humans do. Tauren's eyes glowed brighter as he floated closer to the humans. You have shown us that intelligence, creativity, and adaptability are more important than brute strength. Humans think, imagine, and innovate in ways that inspire. The galaxy will benefit greatly from your participation. Hannah smiled. We will do our best to represent Earth and our species. Humans value learning, growth, and understanding. We hope to foster cooperation across all civilizations. Tauren nodded. That is exactly what we hope to see. Today, humans have not only shared tools and inventions, but also their philosophy of life. That is the greatest gift of all. Your presence will enrich the archive and guide many civilizations toward progress. The chamber shifted again as a Talari projected a ceremonial seal of partnership. It glowed with a combination of human and Talari symbols, representing unity, creativity, and knowledge. Tauren gestured toward it. With this seal, we officially welcome humans as contributors and partners. Let this partnership symbolize mutual respect, learning, and growth for the generations to come. Myra stepped forward and placed her hand gently on the seal. On behalf of Earth and humanity, we accept this honor. Humans believe in sharing knowledge, learning together, and helping others solve problems. We will serve this partnership with honesty, creativity, and dedication. Hannah and Raj placed their hands alongside hers, and Tom followed. The seal glowed brighter, symbolizing a bond between species. The Talari Council members observed with soft admiration. This moment marked a historic connection between humans and the wider galaxy. Tauren's voice resonated calmly but with great meaning. The galaxy will remember this day. Humans have shown that imagination, intelligence, and adaptability are as powerful as any technology. Your species is a model for cooperation, problem-solving, and growth. We are proud to welcome you as partners. The humans stepped back, feeling both pride and humility. They had shared their inventions, philosophies, and ways of thinking. The Talari had witnessed the true nature of humans, a species capable of creativity, learning, and collaboration beyond expectations. Outside the ceremonial hall, the station was alive with quiet excitement. Holographic banners displayed symbols of Earth alongside Talari symbols. Other species observing the ceremony projected holograms in celebration. Humans had joined the galaxy not as newcomers, but as respected contributors. Their creativity and adaptability had earned admiration across the stars. Myra looked at her team and whispered, "We have shown them what humans can do, not through force, not through power, but through imagination and intelligence. That is our true strength." Hannah smiled softly. "We have started something bigger than ourselves. This partnership can inspire generations, not only on Earth but across the galaxy." Raj nodded. "And the best part is, we can continue to grow and learn. This is only the beginning." Tom looked around at the glowing stars and said quietly, "I think they will remember humans for a long time. Our way of thinking. It can change how civilizations see possibilities." Talran addressed the humans one last time. "Humans, you have proven yourselves extraordinary. You will contribute to the archive, guide others with your intelligence, and inspire creativity across the galaxy. This is the start of a partnership that will shape the future." Myra bowed once more. "Thank you, Elder Talran. Humans are ready to share, learn, and grow alongside the galaxy. Together, we can make knowledge and understanding the greatest force in the universe." As the ceremony ended, the humans walked through the station with quiet satisfaction.